Hey Slightly Unblended, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm doing a multicolored halo eye, very in depth. So if you're a beginner at makeup or want to know how other people do halo eyes, then just keep on watching. So I am going to teach you how to do a halo eye. Or don't quite know where to start, I got you. So I am going to start out with what I feel like is super important is a base. You can use concealer. I'm going to use the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas and Fair, and it's in a little pot. And then got all your product, and I'm going to take this nameless Morphe brush because I've had it forever and the words and whatnot are not there anymore. So I'm going to get a little bit of the base, and I am going to start to add it to my lid. I'm really just going to kind of bring it from that inner corner of my eye over, kind of like to carve my brow, but I used my foundation for that. And I'm going to take it out and up towards that arch of my brow. So I'm just kind of using this to carve out my brows again. I'm going to take it all over the lid. I'm using the flat brush first just to cover it, and then I'm going to make sure that it is a nice and even base with a fluffy brush. And the one that I've had for a while, but it is a Wet n Wild fluffy brush. And my mama got it for me. So, looks a little loud, but I'm going to take the fluffy brush, and I'm really just going to kind of blend that base towards the bridge of my nose, and then just kind of pat it. And I am going to blend the base out towards the tail of my brow. That way it's clean, and we can blend the foundation or concealer with that. So now we have a nice and smooth base. I'm going to take a couple of my favorite palettes, whatever colors that you like, whatever palette you have with the colors that you want to do, they'll work perfectly. But for this one today, I decided that I'm going to use the Midwinter Dream, the Ensley and Brittany Huffman palette, and the Cosmic Wanderer palette from Terra Cosmetics. Both are so beautiful. So I'm going to start out with the Midwinter Dream palette, and I'm going to use Frigid. It's the darkest purple. So I'm going to take the Makeup Shack T66 brush. I like to work with smaller brushes because I feel like I have a little more control with them. So I'm going to get the shade on the brush, and I'm going to do a more rounded halo eye. So I'm just going to start just kind of popping it into the crease, and I'm really just going to pat it. So you want to take it, and the key with blending is you want to hold your brush back because you don't want to use a lot of pressure. You just want to take it and gently stamp it into the crease. And I'm going to do this where we're going to kind of just take it down because I'm focusing on building the shape up right now. So I'm really just working on patting the shade very gently, the lightest amount of pressure. So I'm just going to pop that on. And I'm going to work it about halfway into the crease. Now, my eye shape, my eyes aren't really super hooded. This eye is a bit more hooded than my left eye. So I'm just going to take it and pat it into the crease and a little bit above. That way you can see all of the colors. So about like this. And I'm going to clean that brush off. And I'm going to pop over to the Cosmic Wanderer palette, and I'm going to use the shade Triangulum, which is such a dreamy blue. So I'm taking the same brush, I just cleaned it off. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to pat it into the crease, just like we did with the purple. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to pop it up into the crease like the eye socket of your eye. And I'm going to take it and meet it with that purple. Right now I don't really care how it looks, I just want to build the shape. So that's kind of what I focus on when I do this. Then I'll go in and touch everything up. So I'm getting to that point. Once I get this stamped, I just went back in and got a little bit more of that triangulum shade, and I am just patting it with Frigid, and they blend together beautifully. And I'm going to also kind of stamp it down towards that inner corner of my eye. That way when we carve the crease out, it won't take off entirely too much. That way we could still have that connection towards the bridge of the nose and the inner corner of the eye. So now that I have triangulum touched up and everything, I'm going to go back into Frigid, and I'm going to just focus on patting it with triangulum to blend it. I'm still using super light pressure. I'm just patting these shades together. A little pat, pat, pataroo. About like this. Okay, so I'm going to take this dough color number 11 brush. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to hold it back towards the tail end of the brush. And I hold it where the end of it is kind of pushed back towards the end of my finger, like where my finger connects to my hand. And I'm just going to do a little baby blenderoo. Very gently do up and down if you're towards the outer corner of your eye, and then back and forth motions when you're not on the outer corner of your eye. That way you're just slightly diffusing that shade. It'll make it a little softer and be ready for the next color to blend. So you just want to go back and forth. Blending is essential. It takes a little bit, it can be repetitive, but it is worth it. And I'm going to clean that brush off real quick and do the same thing with that darker blue. Just back and forth. I'm going back into the Cosmic Wanderer palette, and I'm going to take the shade Electra with that same dough color brush. It's a beautiful purple. So I'm going to start to blend out Frigid with it. So right where that color left off, I'm going to start to pat it on very, very gently. Just almost overlapping that first shade. And with blending, you will lose a little bit of pigment from the darker shade, which the darker shade really is to create depth. So right now I've patted it on, but I'm also just kind of doing little baby blends to connect it over towards the blue. And I'm going to just pat it. But blending is pretty repetitive. You will lose a little bit of that first shade, and here in a little bit I'm going to go in and touch that up. So right now I'm just focusing on getting my shape and the blend ready for our next shade. Tapping is a good bit better. It takes a little bit more time, but you don't want to rush art. It's cute. So now I'm going to go into Elektra from the same palette, the same brush. I just cleaned it off, and I'm going to right where we left off with triangulum start to just go back and forth with that. And I'm gonna pat, 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 just so gently. Void by Melanie Martinez is stuck in my head. It's been everywhere. But my new cat we have, Marceline, we took her in December. We call her our little void, and she hides out, she blends. Like, I'll be like, where's Marcia baby? and I won't be able to see her, and I'm like, walk past her like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, oh, there he is. My camera cut off. So I forgot exactly what I was saying because I have no idea where it cut off at this point. But now that I have the shades built up, I am going to take that same brush. I'm just making sure I have it cleaned off. Okay, and I'm going to kind of focus on gently blending out the purple just a bit. Just a little bit. I love a good rounded halo eye. They're so fun. So with the same brush, I'm going to go into Vega, which is a lighter blue from the Cosmic Wanderer palette. And I am just going to gently, you can, like, how to explain how I would describe the pressure is you just want it to kind of feel like a little tickle. And I'm just going to go back and forth for a nice and gradient blenderoo. You can go in and touch it up as much as you want. Okay, feel like that's pretty cute. So I am going to take that Makeup Shack T66 brush and a little bit more triangulum, and I'm just going to start to go back and forth. I like to call these little windshield wiping motions. Don't be scared to play with colors. They're a lot of fun. I don't know what it is, but when I first started makeup, looking back, it was kind of neutral, but it was like pushing the boundaries of neutral. It was like the brightest of them. So like the oranges out of that one Morphe palette that had the shade that exploded, some reds and stuff like that. But I was never really into neutral makeup, so I tend to kind of struggle with it, but I do play around with it sometimes because I'm like, you need to learn how to do that. So colors are like my comfort zone, especially purple and blue, or just purple. Like, that is my favorite colors to blend. So now that I have that touched up, I'm gonna take that same brush, I just cleaned it off. I'm gonna go back into the Midwinter Dream palette, into Frigid, and what I'm gonna do is just kind of pat it, just tap it on there, and then kind of go back and forth, windshield wiping motions. And with the dough color number 11 brush, I'm going to go into Rebirth from the Midwinter Dream palette and start to just stamp it along the end of that purple. Just pat it, pat it, pat it, little baby pats. And you don't want to use much pressure at all. And then I'm just going to go back and forth. Look at the blend coming together. I love seeing a blend come together. Now, you see we did lose a good bit of the second purple, the purple from the Cosmic Wanderer palette. I'm going to go in and touch that up right now. So, you see, also, you see how this blend looks a little harsh out here on the end, even though it's really diffused. After I touch up Electra, I do believe was the shade. Yes. After I touch up Electra, I'm going to take a white eyeshadow to soften this blend. I feel like it really makes it look more airbrushed. There's not any harshness to it. And if you lose any of the lighter shades that you blended the colors out with, you can always go back in and touch them up. But it, to me, makes the blend look cleaner. So I'm going to go back into Electra right now and start to pat it on and go back and forth. And you see how these blend so beautifully? I am going to go back in and get a little bit more of Rebirth to blend this out, because I did lose a little bit more of it than I wanted. But blending is repetitive. and it's worth it. Sorry I'm a little low energy today. Normally I feel like I like to get on and talk and just be goofy, but it is almost 10 p.m. and I'm really tired, and I had errands and stuff to run today, and I got my brows waxed, so I didn't put on any makeup. It was just like, okay, get a fresh brow going on. But anyway, I've got that brush cleaned off, and I'm going to take Rebirth and just start to diffuse the edges of Electra. And that makes quite the difference. It's not very harsh. And this shade is gorgeous. This was one of the shades that my eye was just like, I want to use that as far as matte goes. And I love it. It kind of like makes me think pastel, which I love pastels. Oh, see, I haven't tried a lot of, well, I think I've only tried one palette from Glamlight, and that was the first Michaela palette, because it was purple, and I was like, I need that. And so I think they were having a sale, so the Ice Cream Dream palette was like cheaper, and I ordered it, and I'm so excited because that'll be like the second palette I have from Glamlight. I'm going back into Electra real quick. But I love pastels, so I was like, oh yes, I need to try this palette. Because one of my friends says that it's a very awesome palette, and I was like, I need it. So, anyway, I'm going to take this Sigma E25 brush, and I'm going to just take a white eyeshadow. I had the Primal palette close to me, so since it has a pretty decent size white eyeshadow, the shade Hidden, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to just right around the edges where it's harsh, just gently blend that out ever so softly. That almost scared me. Oh, my anxiety has been so bad that I'm like the jumpiest person. Like, the cats scare me whenever they'll be like, they'll just like jump up at me, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, why am I like this? I laugh about it though. So back and forth. You see, it's already softening it up. And I just kind of pat it. And then I'm going to get a little bit more and do the same thing on the blue side. Very, very, very gently. I'm going to take a little bit more Vega. I'm going to use the Blend Bunny Cosmetics B4 brush. And touch that up. And I'm going to clean that brush off and go back into Rebirth. And bring it back a little bit. But because I've taken the white eyeshadow out a little bit farther, I feel like that really still helps it to stay quite seamless. Now I'm going to take the Blend Bunny Cosmetics B2 brush and a little bit more of Electra. And just kind of stamp it down. Okay, now we've made it this far. I'm going to take some micellar water on a Q-tip, and I'm going to start to carve out my crease. I know I don't normally talk through this, but I will try my best to explain everything so that it will be super in-depth. So, the reason I like to use micellar water on a Q-tip before I carve out my crease is because I feel like it really helps to... Okay, I didn't take it down far enough, so I'm just going to blend it downwards a little more. But I like to take some micellar water on a Q-tip to take it, and from the inner corner of my eye, I will just follow my crease. And I like to do this because I feel like it helps when I put my base down to make the colors look more vibrant and not muddy. If you don't want to do this, then you don't have to. But I really like to do it because I feel like it just looks cleaner. So I just follow the hollow of my eye which would be like the crease. And I clean it. And I've got a not so great Q-tip. That's okay. It's a little too fluffy, but it works. So I like to kind of just go over it until it is cleaned up. Now everybody's eye shape is different, so just play around with it and see which carve works best for your eye shape. I'm gonna take it out a little bit farther. Now when I used to do halo eyes, I used to would just only like I would put the colors on and then I would just like clean out the shape, like the halo bit right there. I feel like doing it like you would do a half cut crease helps to bring out the halo shape a little bit better. It gives the more definition into the crease. So now I'm going to take some more of the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas in Fair and that same Morphe brush from the beginning and get a little bit of that base. And I like this brush because it's flat. So when you're carving out your crease, you really want a flat brush. This one is kind of stuck together because I've used it several times with the base, but I feel like that is where it really helps you out. So I'm going to take it from the inner corner and just kind of stamp a little bit down, and I'm going to get it up as close as I can to that color to really carve out the crease. I'm going to just do it very carefully. So now that I'm getting towards the center, I have to stamp it and just kind of drag it down. I just follow where we cleaned it up with the micellar water on a Q-tip. Then I just kind of stamp it along the edge of that purple. Now it's the lookaroo. And like right here, I go, I just kind of define it a little bit more. Then I have to look and make sure that they're even. Then I like to take a little bit of the base and just drag it down towards the bridge of my nose and the inner corner of my eye. And just make sure it's nice and defined. Now I gotta let my eyes reset because I was focusing. Okay, I'm gonna go back into the Midwinter Dream palette and take a little bit of Frigid, and I'm gonna take that Makeup Shack T66 brush. And I like to do it like this. Like I'll take the brush, oops, I got the color on it. Okay, take it over my nose and just pat it from where that shade is and kind of gently drag it onto the base ever so slightly. And do it very carefully. And as you do this, it kind of blends the shade. You don't want to have too much eyeshadow. You want to do it very gently. And then make sure I'm holding I have to correct myself sometimes because I want to hold the brush too far down, and that doesn't ever work out right for me. So about like this. And then I'm going to switch over to the Cosmic Wanderer palette. I need to take just a second to talk about this palette. This is one of the most gorgeous palettes I've ever seen. Like every time I use it, like I will use it the most, and then I'll have to like tell myself not to. So then I don't use it for a while, and then I'm like, I use it, and I'm like, I want to use it all the time. And that's how I've been feeling about the Midwinter Dream palette lately, is I've gotten back into using it a bit more. I'm just like, I want to use it. So it's like, you two have been being like ones that I've been thinking about lately, so I'm gonna use y'all. So I'm gonna go into Electra from this palette, and right where that shade is diffused, I'm gonna just kind of pat it on and take it in a little bit. Now I don't want to take it too far up because I want to have the halo effect over the eye. So I'm going to take it and just bring it up a little bit and bring it over. And if we need to, we can go back into Frigid and touch it up. You see how it's already starting to kind of create the halo, or like the little cutesy bit right here. I love it. I've just cleaned this brush off and I'm going to go into Triangulum, and right at the edge of the lid, more towards that inner corner of my eye, I'm going to take it. Now the key here is making it look like it's giving your eye a nice little hug. So I take this and I kind of connect it with the blue there, and then bring it over a little bit. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Vega and just do the same thing. Blend them together. Bring it over a bit. You see how it kind of looks like it's giving your eye a nice little hug? That's good. Okay, so I just take my mirror and put it back and make sure that I have them even and how I want it to look. And now I'm going to add some sparkles, which is my favorite part. I'm going to take the Terra Moon's Cosmetics Spring Collection, and I'm going to use the shade Calypso, which is so pretty. It's more of a duochrome, but it's like a periwinkle, so it kind of goes with the blue and the purple. So I'm going to take that and this Cleona DF04 brush. I'm going to get a little bit of Calypso, and I'm going to start to pat it on the edge of the purple to blend it, and then take it over, leaving just a tiny bit of the lid blank. I want to have it more so like it's giving it a little hug. Just kind of bring it over just a little bit. And we can always go in to our mattes here a little bit and touch them up. Sorry, I'm in focus mode now. And you see it's got a little shift to it. It's so pretty. I'm going to do the same thing on the other bit right here. I'm going to take it and pat it and just kind of blend it with Vega. And you see the little tiny bit of space that's right there in the center? That's about what I like to do with halo eyes, just have a little bit. And if you wanted to, you could just use this whole shade, but I wanted it to be like super sparkly. So I'm just patting this and dragging it a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to go back into the Midwinter Dream palette, and I'm going to use the shade NYX for the center and then the little bit above that's like the halo. I'm going to take it, that same brush, and I'm going to pop that right in the center. Oh, look at that. Look at how pretty. And I'm just going to kind of blend it with Calypso. So I'm just kind of making it touch Calypso on both sides, but just kind of gently dragging it over. And then I'm going to take it and start at the center and just kind of move it back and forth, getting it up as close to the crease as I can. Sometimes I'll lift my eyebrows a little bit, and I'll kind of angle the mirror, like I'll have it tilted back, but where I can see, and I just focus on covering all the base that doesn't have anything on it yet. And I'm gonna go back into Calypso to touch it up. I'm gonna take it and just bring it over and blend it with NYX. With the Makeup Shack T66 brush, I'm gonna take a little bit more of Electra and kind of blend it with Calypso very gently, just along the edges of it. And I'm cleaning that brush off, and I'm going to take a little bit of Vega and do the same thing. And I'm going to take a little bit more of Triangulum here in a second to really touch it up. So I lost it and bring it back. Let's bring it back into the play. Cute. Okay, I am excited. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna take a little tiny bit more of Frigid to bring it back. By the time this goes up, I will have already been, but we are going to North Arkansas this weekend, and I haven't been since like 2012. And that was the only time I'd ever really been to like up North Arkansas. So I'm pretty excited. It'd be a little adventure. But I'm trying to think of a makeup look to do. So I gotta get up super early, so I don't know what I'll have time to do. Alright. So now if you wanted to, you can leave it how it is. Just like this. But I am going to add some Manic Gems Fairy Dust, glitter, and rhinestones, and I'm going to draw some cleans. So I can't really talk through those, but I do have a tutorial on my channel. I'm going to do a new updated one soon, but there is a tutorial on my channel that shows how I do these. So if you'd like to see how I do them, the video somewhere on my channel, I'll try to put it in the eye somewhere in this video if you're interested. So I'm just going to take some water activated liner and get to doodling. Alright, I'm going to go do the rest of my face, and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is the finished look. What do you think? So for the lower lash line, I used the same shades as I did up top, because pretty much what goes up must come down as far as blending, unless you just want to use like shimmers, which is fine, or whatever other colors you want to use. It works out however you want it to, and it's going to look amazing. Okay, so if there's anything else that you'd like to see next, please let me know, because I do want to bring this series back where it's Makeup 101. My brain is mush because as of like an hour ago, it's made like 7 months since I lost my cat, so I'm kind of trying to hold it together to get this video finished, but I just wanted to do it to keep my mind busy because it's fun and makeup is what keeps me kind of grounded. So yeah, let me know what you'd like to see next down in the comments below. And if you'd like to keep up with my awkward face and shenanigans while I'm not here on YouTube, then I'll have all my social medias linked in the description box down below. And I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and hope that I'll see you in the next one. Bye.